guys, I'm Mason. I'm a completely blind wrestling fan, and this is my podcast, Wrestling in the Dark. After hearing many good things about Tyler Bate versus Walter, United Kingdom Championship on the line in the main event of NXTUk Takeover Cardiff, I just had to go and check it out, and now I'm here to tell you what it was like from a blind person's point of view. So if you're interested, stick around and find out what it was like. I can tell you that this was a high-scoring match for the commentary. This was a showcase and proof of why people say that Nigel McGuinness and Vic Joseph are the best commentary team in WWE today. They work incredibly well as a team, and I'm so worried that with all these rumours swirling that the WWE commentary teams are about to get mixed up and people are about to get sent to different places, I hope that they keep McGuinness and Joseph as a team on NXT UK because they work together perfectly, as this match is proof of. I loved this match. From the story to the spots to the crowd, and in particular the commentary, everything was just great. So from the beginning we've got Tyler and Walter making their way down to the ring, making their entrances, and McGuinness and Joseph use this time to just build the story. They talk about what it means to each competitor, the fact that Tyler's after redemption and payback for what Walter and his Imperium buddies have done to British Strong Style over the last couple of months, and he's bearing the burden of British wrestling on his back. They talk about the fact that Walter thinks that Tyler and British Strong Style are the epitome of everything that's wrong with wrestling. He's this wrestling purist who thinks that the ring is sacred, that how he wrestles is the right way, and he's unbeaten, seemingly unstoppable. And I just love that. They just drew these lines and let me know, they've both got factions, they've had their issues. Tyler's coming after that United Kingdom Championship, which he won before. Again, they do a really good job of building Tyler as this super relatable underdog face by talking about the burden of British wrestling, by talking about how young he was when he won the United Kingdom Championship the first time and how far he's come and how much he's changed since then, and painting Walter as this huge, unstoppable, traditionalist monster who just sees Tyler as everything wrong with the business that he loves. I just thought it was really great, and especially using Tyler's age as a way to build him as the underdog, to place him as the less experienced of the two, and place him as the underdog without having to bring up his size or anything like that. It was just all about his age and his experience, which all comes back to play throughout the match. They talked about the fact that if this match goes long, it'll be in the favour of Tyler, but if Walter can keep it at his pace, then he'll be on to a winner, and that's why Tyler's got to stick and move and get Walter moving if he wants to win this match. Like I said, I just thought that was fantastic. Like, all of that is before they've even got to the ring, and they did just such a good job with getting me invested and making me care about what happened before the bell even rang. The points were coming thick and fast in this match, and it started pretty early. For the first time ever, I actually gave the crowd a point because they were so hot for this match. They were completely against Walter and completely behind Tyler, and that really made it feel important and helped with buying into this underdog image of Tyler. And then they were doing the boo, yay spot as loud and as clear as they could, so I knew exactly who was striking and when, and I just thought that was a really cool spot that added to the moment of the match, the crowd actually sort of getting involved in getting me invested and telling me what was going on, so I thought they deserved a point. Then as Walter is trying to grind down Tyler, he's trying to squeeze the air out of him, Nigel picks up his first point, talking about the fact that Tyler has got himself positioned so Walter's arm isn't across his chest as much so he can breathe properly. And I feel like other commentators would have made this a sort of, they'd have just talked about Walter's size or how much Tyler's got to try and fight out of it or something like that. But I just felt that it was a really good little thing to show us the ring IQ of Tyler and the heart that he has despite the inexperience. Like, he still knows enough to do these sorts of things, and I just thought that that was a really good call from Nigel. Then, as the crowd chants, "Walter is a wanker," Vic explains that that's a prime example of why Walter thinks that British strong style are the epitome of everything wrong with wrestling, because they encourage that sort of behaviour from the fans. And then we get this sequence where Tyler starts trying to fire back and he sends Walter to the outside, and Vic Joseph called that absolutely perfectly. Like, it was just so good. I didn't miss anything. It had this big fight feel because of the urgency and the drama in Vic Joseph's voice, and like I said, I didn't miss anything. Now, I couldn't tell you what happened in that sequence because there was too many moves and it was called too fast, but that sequence leading to Walter getting sent to the outside in the early moments, I just thought was called absolutely perfectly by Vic. Nigel picked himself up 2 more points. The first one was by talking about, as Walter tries to slam Tyler, that Tyler hangs on, and I do really appreciate that he told us that, because again, builds the heart of Tyler, builds the fact that he's got this strength to him that will come into play throughout the match. And I just feel like other commentators might have been like, "Oh, a huge counter," or "he blocked that," or "the strength of Tyler Bate," or something like that, but the fact that Nigel chose to actually tell us got him a point, meaning that he's on 2 already. Then he picks himself up another one because it all spills to the outside. Then we get this huge spot, the commentators go wild, the crowd's chanting "holy shit," and I'm like, what's going on? And I thought that I was going to have to take a point away, but Nigel, being the pro that he is, reacts, gets it in his head, and then explains it to us and tells us that Walter tried to powerbomb Tyler into the ring post, but came up slightly short, and Tyler's head hit the post more than anything. Then after that, the first great spot bit of the match, which I just appreciated out of the storyline context rather than the commentary, was the fact that they did the standing count for Tyler. Now, I love a standing count because I think that it really makes it feel like a big fight, like a real actual shoot fight, and I just wish they'd do it more often. I'm of the opinion that we should have more matches that end in TKOs or knockouts, or when the ref has to stop it because they can't defend themselves, etc, etc. I just always think that it makes it feel like an extra important brutal fight, and I really think that it did that with this, and also built Tyler as this amazing underdog. I really thought that it was great that the crowd was doing the "Let's go Tyler, fuck you Walter" dueling chant. I just thought that was great, and I gave the crowd another point for that, because it really was just, again, it's just one of those things that with the crowd being that firmly into Tyler, you can't help but do it as well, and I just thought that it was a really inventive chant that made the match feel just that little bit more special and entertaining. Then Vic Joseph picks himself up 2 more points, catching up with Nigel on the 3 mark. He has this great call of Walter hitting a straight kick that buckled Bate. Now, I feel like if that had been Mauro Ranallo, it might have been a bit more, he might have beat us over the head with it a little bit more. It might have been a bit more overt or on the nose, but it came across as really natural coming out of Vic Joseph's mouth, and the fact that he used that alliteration made it so much more illustrative and drew the picture so much better. Like, Tyler doesn't just get knocked down by this kick, he buckles, he just falls to the floor like a sack of taters, and I thought that that was really, really cool, because like I said, it just paints that picture. Then he gets another point for the sequence as we get Walter locking in the standing sleeper. Tyler tries to fight back, Walter won't break the hold, and then he hits a clubbing blow, and then he hits lots of clubbing blows, and you can hear them. They don't sound like chops. It's just this dull thud, like dish, 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 and like, because it changes later on once Walter starts chopping. So you just know it's just these clubbing blows are just like, oh, I'm gonna just beat the crap out of you. And I just thought that it was called really, really well by Vic, so I gave him another 2 points. So he's on 3 alongside Nigel, and this is like the early points in the match, and they've already got 3 points each, which is, that's big. So after the clubbing blows, we get another standing count for Tyler. Again, just building this underdog resilience of Tyler. Like, can he even get up at this point? And I thought that worked really, really well. Then we get this bit where Nigel is talking about the fact that Walter's taking his time, that he's not taking any risks. He's like, Walter, not taking any risks, and why would he? And I just thought that was great too. It just makes it seem like Nigel's sort of enjoying watching Walter at work, and again, yeah, drawing that line of like, why would he be taking any risks? Because right now he's on top. And then he starts hitting chops, and he hits lots and lots of chops. Like, he just chops the crap out of Tyler for ages, and all you can hear is just like slap, oh, from the crowd, slap, oh. And even getting me like, oh god, that sounds nasty. Obviously I can't see the effects that those chops have, but they still sound just as brutal. Then we get the next little bit of points for Nigel, moving him up to 4 points, because Tyler hits a big move to the outside that results in the crowd chanting holy shit and mamma mia. And then Nigel tells us that Tyler had hit an exploder suplex, but didn't release the hold, and that cost him as well as Walter. Again, this is great. It's got that inexperienced factor of Tyler. He's young, he's annoyed, he's pissed off at what Walter and Imperium have done, and he wants to make sure that he hurts Walter as much as he can, and that's why he doesn't let go of the hold, even though it would have been better if he did. And I just thought that was great. Again, just Nigel keeping a surprise to that. I feel like all the commentators might have been like, oh, a big move off the apron there, or just like, oh, both men take a tumble to the floor, or something like that. But the fact that I think that it really ties into the story of Tyler's youthful pride, I really think that it was an important spot for Nigel to actually point out, and I'm really glad that he did. After the exploder, Tyler goes on the offense, and this results in him going to the top rope and tries to take Walter down, but he gets chopped out of the air. Walter just chops him in the back. Again, great. Thanks for telling us where he chopped him, Nigel. And then Walter locks in the Boston Crab, and Nigel gets to work telling us why this hurts, what it does to the back, how much it's going to wreck Tyler's strength. And it's just great because, again, the experience factor of Walter playing into this, the fact that he isn't just strong, he's not just going to throw Tyler around or just chop him. He's got these wrestling moves in his arsenal. He can still wrestle and get you in submissions, and just the fact that he's, you know, cycling through these moves. He gets the Boston Crab, then he gets the Lion Tamer, I think, because they said something about him using the knee during it, so I think it would have been the Lion Tamer. And then he transitions into a 3/4 Nelson. And I just thought, you know what, that was great. That sequence was amazing, and I just gave Nigel another point for it, because it's not often that I can talk about the actual spots in a match, and there's so many of them that I'm actually getting through to talking about this time, because they just did such a good job of calling them. As Bate is locked in this 3/4 Nelson, he tries, and then he tries again, and then he tries again, and on the 4th attempt he finally gets Walter up and slams him. Then Vic Joseph manages to pick himself up some more points, or one more point as it were, and we get this bit where Tyler starts this sequence of uppercuts, and Vic Joseph sells it perfectly. Like, Walter's rocked, and he gets this urgency and this drama in his voice, and you can really tell that he's getting behind Tyler, that he wants to see Tyler get the job done. And this sequence carries on until I've just completely knocked myself off my train of thought. Let me just check my note. Yeah, so we get the sequence of the uppercuts, and Vic sells it like Walter's rocked, and that continues until Tyler hits the exploder. Then we get this awesome bit as the crowd's chanting, "Are you watching? Are you watching, Vince McMahon?" Again, I was in Blackpool when we sang that, so it sort of gave me flashbacks when they started singing it. And then Vic is sort of calling for Tyler to remember what Imperium's done, remember what they've done to Tyler's friends, so he can call on his friends for the strength to carry on the fight, which is really important for what's coming up. We get this great example of how Nigel and Vic work well as a team with this next sequence, as Walter hits a drop kick on Tyler that sends him into the turnbuckle. He goes to powerbomb Tyler, but Tyler manages to switch up the momentum and counter with the sunset flip for a near fall. But Nigel explains that his leg placement meant that Walter's shoulder wasn't on the mat properly, and that's why he couldn't get the full cover. Walter goes to the top rope, but Joseph explains that he pauses for a split second, and then Tyler Bate hits a jumping headbutt, and I gave both men an extra point for that, meaning that at this point Nigel is on 5 and Vic is on 4, and I just thought, again, it still isn't that far through the match. There's still plenty of time to go, and the fact that they're on 5 and 4 respectively is just absolutely incredible, and that teamwork was just great. Then we get the first of 2 spots that I think is absolutely amazing. Now, we easily could have had Seven and Pete Dunne out at ringside, but instead they choose to play off what Joseph's just been saying about remembering what Imperium's done to his friends and calling on his friends to find the strength. And then Tyler hits the he snaps the fingers like Pete Dunne does, calling up this calling on the strength of his best friend. And I just really like that. We don't get stuff like that often, where he's finding the strength to carry on by remembering his friends and emulating his friends and the training that they've all done together, and I just thought it was great. Then Tyler hits a top rope move, and it's the first sort of point where they don't really say anything, but for the first time ever, I really didn't care, because they react and Tyler hits this move, but Vic is just like, "Get into the cover, Tyler! Crawl! Crawl!" And the drama and the urgency there just really sold it. So at that point, I just felt like it didn't matter what the move was that Tyler hit, because it was such a big move that it could have won him the match, and I thought that was absolutely great. So talking about Tyler's inexperience, this is sort of one of the places where it comes into play. He starts going for Walter's ankle, and I feel like a more experienced wrestler would have done that sooner. They'd have known that Walter is the big man, that he'd need to go for that base, and maybe he did it earlier on in the match and maybe I missed it or the commentary didn't say anything, but I actually felt like it was a really cool story thing that he was finally realising later on in the match, oh no, I've got to try and get him off his feet, I've got to try and take his base away, and was going for that ankle. But it sort of works to no avail, because he starts getting chopped a load, and then this leads to another sequence which earned both men another point. So Walter's hitting chops, Tyler hits bop, doesn't hit bang because he can't, because he gets chopped again. He eats a few more chops, and then he manages to hit bang, and Walter falls on top of him, so he can't capitalise on that. Again, great. Walter gets rocked by these shots from Tyler because he's not taking him seriously, because he doesn't think that he can, that he's got a scratch on him. And I think it's just great. He gets rocked, and it would have been one of the chances that Tyler could have at least picked up a near fall, but instead he just gets instead Walter just falls on him, and I thought that was really great, and picked themselves up another point with that. So at this point, McGuinness is on 6 and Joseph's on 5. Again, this is I couldn't believe it. Just every time I had to give out a new point, I was like, stop now, it's okay, you're going to break the scale, you're going to go way, way higher than I thought that you could. Like, at this point, no one's ever scored even this high, I don't think, from one match. So the fact that they're on 6 and 5 respectively is just like, wow. In the second of the references to his friends, Tyler hits the burning hammer in homage to Trent Seven, and from this point on, Nigel McGuinness is just like a child at Christmas. He just can't believe everything's going on. The commentators are screaming for Tyler to make the cover. Vic says that Tyler's trying to get a finger over him, an arm, anything over Walter to pin him, but it just doesn't work because of the effects of the match that have taken the toll on Tyler so far. He manages to hoist Walter up and slam him again, and Nigel is just screaming in disbelief that it didn't work. Then after that, Tyler hits the Tyler Driver 97. Again, near fall, doesn't work, but Nigel McGuinness is just screaming like, that's impossible, I don't believe it, I'm losing my mind. And it's just, it's hard not to enjoy a match when it's being presented through this like sort of almost childlike excitement and just disbelief. Nigel keeps saying, this is going to be a match that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, and I think that just really sells how important it is and makes it feel really special. So now we're into sort of the closing moments of the match, and we get a really nice bit where Walter is trying to put Tyler to sleep with a choke, and Tyler fights out of it and slams Walter to the floor, but Walter no-sells it and locks in the choke again. And Nigel has this really, really nice call about Walter rising from the dead. Again, it's just great, makes him seem really unstoppable, sort of like gives him that Terminator-esque air about him where he's just not going to stop coming, like what is it going to take to put him down. Then he hits a powerbomb. Walter hits a powerbomb on Tyler that Tyler kicks out of at 1 and sends the crowd and the commentators absolutely ballistic. Like, it was probably one of the hottest reactions I've ever heard to anything. Like, everyone was going so crazy. Then we get the one point where Nigel had to have some subtracted from him, because we get a huge moment where the crowd chants holy shit, but they never really said what happened. Nigel just screams, that's it, and then that is it, that's all they really say. So that puts them both down to 5, and then the finish of the match sort of came out of nowhere. I did enjoy it, I liked it, because it was just one of those, oh my god, someone's hit a big move and it's done. I don't know whether they've used a lariat as Walter's finisher before, but the fact that I wasn't expecting it was just like, oh, and it came out of nowhere. But honestly, I really didn't mind that at all. The rest of the match was so good that I was just like, you know what, that's fine. I knew at that point Tyler wasn't going to win anyway, and it was just that one big move that put him down, and I just thought that it was really, really impressive. This whole match was just great. I gave it a solid 6 out of 6 because I just can't think of any way that I would have improved it myself, to be honest. It was one of the best matches that I've ever seen, and will definitely go into my top 5. And just the performance from the commentary was just absolutely incredible. Getting up to 5 points each is just 6 points each, I think, is absolutely insanity. But yeah, I'm sort of done with that review now. So if you've got any thoughts on this review, or the match itself, let me know down in the comments section or on Twitter at Mason_WITD or in the Discord server where I'll drop the link in the description. I really like hearing what other people have to say, so just come on in, come be part of the big community, and together we can help make wrestling accessible. I really appreciate all the love and support that you've shown. So if you've enjoyed this episode, even if you do something as simple as clicking the like button, that'll make me feel good. And if you want to make sure that you stay up to date with WITD, hit that subscribe button and the notify bell so you never miss another episode. Right guys, I'm off, and you should have a good one.